Good morning. I'd like to call the agenda. I'd like to call the meeting to order for the Oxnard City Council Public Works and Transportation Committee. Roll call, please.
Member Flynn.
Here.
Member McDonald.
Here.
And Chair Perrella.
Here.
Chair, we have a quorum, and the agenda for this meeting was posted in the City Hall kiosk on Tuesday, January 7th.
Okay, if she would be so gracious, would Simone please lead us in the flag salute? And if we could have a moment of silence, because there's a lot of things going on in the world right now, and one of the things has to do with truth. And there was every Sunday the LA Times puts a thing in there. The casualties in Iraq, 4,595. In Afghanistan, 2,307. Other locations, 130 since Monday. Keep those people in your mind, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Simone. The first item on the agenda is public comment. Items not on the agenda. I don't have a speaker card, but are there any? No speaker cards. We'll move to the next item, the consent agenda. The City Clerk's Department is subject to the approval of the minutes. Have my fellow committee members had a chance to?
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstentions? None. Moving to the next item, D, reports. Public Works Department. Subject, award trade services agreement A-8129 to Quinn Company for department-wide maintenance of generators and heavy equipment. And I'll have staff read the recommendation, please.
Thank you, Member Perrella and committee. Todd Housley, Environmental Resources Division Manager. Today we're looking at an award to award a trade services agreement A-8129 to Quinn Company for department-wide maintenance of generators and heavy equipment. So we are requesting or recommending that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend that the City Council approve and authorize the mayor to execute a 3-year trade service agreement with Quinn Company for the maintenance of department generators and heavy equipment for an amount not to exceed $610,083. It's a quick slide on identifying the vehicles and units of equipment that we need to perform services on. This is anywhere from preventative maintenance all the way to repairs. The skid steer on the left is a backbone of our operation in ER, and I know for water and wastewater, if the power goes off, that's their backbone. So we arrived at this point by referring to the Sourcewell Cooperative bid process. Most responsive bidders are able to meet the solicitation service criteria selected that we need for the departments, or all the divisions in the department, excuse me. There are some exceptions, but of equipment not being Caterpillar, but Quinn can service them. So we looked into that as well. And pricing is based on published price listed discounted for public agencies. So this is a nationwide Sourcewell bidding mechanism that does work with our procurement rules. Here's a quick spreadsheet as to how the money is budgeted and will be used for the divisions within the Public Works Department. Let you look at that for a second, and then I can answer any questions at the end. And these are, again, for 3 fiscal years. I'll move this back while you're asking questions. It's probably a good slide to leave up there.
I have no speaker cards on this item, correct? Okay. My colleagues have any questions?
No comments.
I'm just amazed when we're talking about $600,000 that we can get it down to 33 cents on the end there, but that's okay. I would have rounded it out.
It's transparency.
Excellent, thank you, no questions.
He has very good eyes, ladies and gentlemen. Just one specific question. If Quinn is doing this as a, Quinn is going to repair our equipment, is the equipment going to stay in yard because Quinn has shops throughout the Tri-Counties? Will it be, the equipment be sent somewhere else to be serviced? Or does that make a difference?
It does make a difference in operation and operational adjustments. However, with Quinn, in my experience, and I'm sure my colleagues in the other divisions would say the same thing, it's dependent upon what's wrong with the equipment. It's dependent upon their ability to work at a satellite location. Most of our equipment in ER, if they can't work on it on site, it's down the street at the Quinn location on Del Norte. I believe that to be true for the other divisions. I don't recall any equipment having to be sent, quite a far distance out of the county or anything. I believe that we'll be able to do that locally or on site.
Thank you. Do we have a recommendation?
Move the recommended action.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions or negative? No. Passes. Move to the next item, please. Thank you very much, Mr. Housley. Next item, the subject is item D2. Appropriate funds for Oxnard Boulevard and Saviers Road sign improvement, PW 19-97, project number 173102. And staff, please read the recommendation.
All right, good morning, Chair and Committee. I am Tatiana Arnaud, City Engineer within Public Works, and I'm here today to present the appropriation of funds for the Oxnard Boulevard and Saviers Road signal improvements, PW 19-97. So the recommendation is that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend City Council approve a budget appropriation of $90,585 for the Oxnard Boulevard and Saviers Road signal improvements, PW 19-97, project number 173102. This amount includes $20,475 from the fund balance of the circulation system improvement fees and an increase in Highway Safety Improvement Program grant revenue, Fund 275, of $70,110. I want to clarify that the purpose of this appropriation is to fund a new contract with a design consultant that will be signed by the city manager as it's under $200,000. So this project was identified in the 2019-2024 5-year capital improvement program. The work includes designing new signal poles, mast arms, signal heads, protected left turn phasing, LED lighting, detection loops, and ADA improvements that come with that. The project locations are down the Oxnard/Saviers Road corridor, and the intersections are Oxnard Boulevard at 5th Street, Saviers Road at Elm Street, Saviers Road at Bryce Canyon Road, Saviers Road at Bard Road, and Saviers Road at Pleasant Valley Road. This project was advertised for consultants to prepare plan specifications and estimates on July 15th of last year, with proposals due on August 14th of last year. We received a total of 6 proposals. Myself, the city traffic engineer, and transportation planner evaluated these proposals for completeness, qualifications and experience, organization and approach, scope of services, schedule of work, conflict of interest, and references. Kimley Horn was selected as the most qualified consultant, and that total estimated contract is just over $137,000. The staff time project management is estimated to be about $15,000 for this one. This project was funded in part by a previously recognized $78,000 HSIP grant and $8,690 of the circulation system improvement fees. In order to fully fund the PS&E phase, our transportation planner, Debbie O'Leary, she was able to secure an additional $70,000 in HSIP grant funding, and we are requesting an additional $20,000 from the circulation system improvement fee fund to cover the rest of the cost. The construction phase for this project has been programmed in the CIP for next fiscal year 2021. The approval of this recommendation will appropriate $20,475 from the fund balance of the circulation system improvement fees and appropriate another $70,000 of additional HSIP grant revenue for this project. After this appropriation request, the projected fiscal year 1920 ending unassigned fund balance of the circulation system improvement fees, Fund 354, is $6.72 million. That does conclude my presentations, and I can take any questions.
I have no speaker cards on this matter. Do the colleagues have anything?
I just have a quick question, and that is, I understand what the item is, and this opens up, not to get off track, but does this in any way, how does it impact the intelligent traffic system? And, you know, I've always had a concern about just that whole thing. We spent about $10 million capital improvement or capital expenditures on the ITS, and just always very curious to know how this might interact with that in some way.
Yeah, so a lot of our traffic signals in the city are very old, and they do require us to get them up to current standards, right? So then we can then move on to the next phase of implementing the next phases of the ITS system. So this is just one step moving forward into that direction.
Excellent answer.
Done? You done?
Yeah.
I'd like to thank the, please pass it on, the traffic planner, transportation planner able to get the extra funds that you were talking about. Good job, whoever you are. Raise your hand.
Right there. Yes.
All right, thank you
she's
very
incredible.
much. You're helping out a lot of people, and especially in this area. I'm very interested in, when we talk about the new signals and the lighting, to make it as bright as possible, because some areas of that city seem to be dark. I wish that Edison would improve their light poles and increase the illumination on the street. We've had some fatalities, and any improvement will be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for the report, and thank you for listing the parties that were involved in the choices. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You have a good memory. Thank you. Any recommendation?
Second?
Mr. McDonald and Mr. Quinn, motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next item. Thank you. Oh, next, thank you, yeah. It's supposed to be on, okay. Next item is item D3. The subject, Dokken Engineering 8729-19-PW Traffic Signal Modification Project. And if the staff could read the recommendation, please.
Yeah, so again, Chair and Committee, I am Tatiana Arnaud, City Engineer within Public Works, and I'm here to present the Traffic Signal Modifications Project number 183114. The recommendation is that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend the City Council, one, that they approve a budget appropriation of $164,355 to Traffic Signal Modifications PW 19-98, project number 183114. This amount includes $14,685 from the fund balance of the Circulation System Improvement Fees, Fund 354, and an increase in Highway Safety Improvement Program Grant Revenue, Fund 275 of $149,670. Second, for them to authorize the mayor to execute agreement number 8792-19-PW in the amount of $224,833 with Dokken Engineering Incorporated for the Traffic Signal Modifications Project, PW 19-98, project number 183114. So this traffic signal modification project was identified in the 2019-2024 5-year capital improvement program. The work also includes designing new signal poles, mast arms, signal heads, protected left turn phasing, LED lighting, detection loops, and ADA improvements that go with that. So the project locations do include Oxnard Boulevard at 4th Street, Oxnard Boulevard at 7th Street, Oxnard Boulevard at Date Street, Ventura Road at 7th Street, Channel Islands Boulevard at Statham Boulevard, Channel Islands Boulevard at Cloyne/Gisler Avenue, and lastly, Channel Islands Boulevard at J Street. This project was advertised for consultants to prepare plans, specifications, and estimates on July 15th of last year, with proposals due on August 14th of last year. We received a total of 4 proposals. Myself, the city traffic engineer, and transportation planner evaluated these proposals, and Dokken Engineering was selected as the most qualified consultant. The total estimated contract is just under $225,000. The staff time for project management is estimated at $24,000 for this project, and it's funded in part by a previously recognized $93,000 HSIP grant and $10,000 of the circulation system improvement fees. In order to fully fund this PS&E phase, again, Debbie O'Leary was able to secure an additional $149,670 in federal HSIP grant funding. But we do need to request an additional just under $15,000 from the Circulation System Improvement Fees Fund to cover the rest of the cost. The construction phase for this project has been programmed for next fiscal year 2021. So the approval of this recommendation will appropriate just under $15,000 from the fund balance of the Circulation System Improvement Fees and $150,000 of additional HSIP grant revenue. After this appropriation request, the projected fiscal year 1920 unassigned fund balance of the circulation system improvement fees is about $6.7 million. That does conclude this presentation. I can take any questions.
Again, I have no speaker cards. Any questions from
I
the?
just have a comment.
Okay.
When we're upgrading these signals, and some of the ones you've identified there are probably some of the oldest signals in our city. Most of them are older than I am, and I'm old, so I know they're antiquated. A lot of our signals have the bypass system for emergency response vehicles to have traffic, flow freely ahead of them. Are we including that system into these new signals that we're going to be putting in?
It's not my understanding that the traffic preemption system will be included as part of this project, but it is a separate project that we are looking at to install throughout the city.
Okay, well, it would be a perfect time while we're redoing all the signals to put that in so that we have consistent traffic flow for the emergency service vehicles when they're running with lights and siren to be able to get where they're going in an expeditious manner, so.
Yeah, that's a great comment, and we'll take that into consideration for this project.
Okay, thank you.
Follow up on that, Mr. City Manager, if we do consider that to kill two birds with one stone, how much delay will it be? Or is that going to be, we don't have the funds?
I don't know that right now, but we're going to evaluate this, and we should have an update when this comes to the full council. So we'll remember, but you should also remember to ask the question again.
Okay, thank you.
I know.
Thank you. And thank you very much for the presentation. And again, my apologies, Ms. Debbie O'Leary, Transportation Planner, thank you very much. I mean, you're kicking butt here. Good job. Do we have a recommendation from the council?
Yes, based on that comment, I would recommend the action.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? It carries. The next item is D4, appropriation of funds for wastewater treatment reliability project. And if staff could read the recommendation, please.
All right. Again, good morning, Chair and Committee, Tatiana Arnaud, City Engineer with Public Works, here to present the appropriation of funds for wastewater treatment reliability projects. The recommendation is that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommends City Council authorize an appropriation from the Wastewater Treatment Operating Fund 621 in the amount of $451,680 to fund agreement A-7815 with AECOM Technical Services Incorporated for engineering design services for projects at the Oxnard Wastewater Treatment Plant. So AECOM provides us with civil engineering services. We previously had 2 agreements with them, one with the wastewater division and then separately one with the water division. On December 13th of 2017, Council did approve a merger of those 2 contracts into one master agreement, which is A-7815, for a total amount not to exceed $13.5 million. The breakdown of that contract is $4.2 million for the water division, $8.9 million for the wastewater division, and then they also added a $250,000 on-call engineering services portion of that contract. During that same city council meeting, there was a second amendment approved for that agreement in the amount of $5.8 million to add to the wastewater portion of that contract. To date, $5.3 million of that $5.7 million has been encumbered. The scope of that amendment was for the design and engineering services during construction for the plant reliability projects. They've completed approximately 90% of the final design portion of those reliability projects. We're now requesting the appropriation of the $451,680 to complete the remaining wastewater design effort as well as engineering services during and after construction. This appropriation would conclude the encumbrance for that agreement. So after this appropriation, the fiscal year 1920 projected ending unassigned fund balance for the wastewater treatment operating fund 621 is $27.14 million, and the wastewater security contamination fund would be $1.4 million. That does conclude this presentation. I can take any questions.
I have no public speakers. Does the committee have questions?
I just have a quick question. What I'd like, this is all routine business, and obviously, the 451,000, you had a list there of all those items that are going to be dealt with the money, which is good. But my question has a lot to do. In the previous committee meeting, we were able to see with the CAFR presentation about the revenue that's being taken in for the wastewater system and then the expenditures, and that showed that we're taking in a lot more. We're taking in more revenue than we are expending money, so that's a very positive thing. And now really is the overall condition of the plant and where we are, because the whole rate increase was predicated around doing exactly these improvements. So what I'm attempting to do right now is ask, where are we with all this? Because I see this list, but I don't know how it fits into the big picture.
Yeah, you got it. So, yeah, you can.
Mayor, I believe 2 meetings ago, you asked the same questions. Our response was, we're putting together an agenda item. Next month, we're coming back, and promise you we're going to show before and after photos and a balance sheet for you to present it to the committee.
I appreciate that. And how long was it when we made the rate increase, the capital improvement time period was for 5 and 10 years, is that correct?
Mayor, it was for 5 years plus a preliminary design report to map the wastewater treatment plant future beyond 5 years.
I see. And then bottom line question, are we on schedule to meet the 5-year capital improvement program?
Mayor, the last project, which is the reliability project, may complete after the 5-year time frame. It's because at certain instances, we slow it down a bit just to wait on for the state revolving fund loan, which we're working on, hopefully receive, that will give us a much lower interest rate than bonds.
Thank you very much.
Just a couple of questions. With respect to, and I appreciate you gave us the history on slide 4. We can put up slide 4. You gave us the history of how these things had come to be, and we have 90% of the final design. Was there an expectation that it wouldn't take this extra extra kitty to be put into the extra funds to be put into it? Did we request more work than we initially had planned?
No, this is just to finish off that contract. It was more, I think, on an operational, budgetary standpoint, why they didn't actually encumber all of those funds last fiscal year. So we're just trying to cover the rest of the contract now.
And when we're covering the rest of the contract, their rates have not gone up during this contract period?
Absolutely not.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate your work. Thank you. Any recommendations?
Move the recommended action.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposition? Move to the next item.
And just, Chair, back on the last item, there were no public speaker cards.
I'm sorry. I apologize, Ms. City Attorney, there were no public speaker cards. Correct, City Clerk? Okay, thank you for catching that. The next item is D5, award solicitation PW 20-32 to Summit Air Conditioning, A-8197 for on-call HVAC maintenance and repair services. And staff could read recommendation when it comes up. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, Committee Chair, Committee members. My name is Luis Ortega. I'm the Management Analyst for the Wastewater Division. And I'm here to present to you a proposal for approval of Agreement 8197 with Summit Air Conditioning for on-call heating, ventilation, and air conditioning maintenance and repair services. With the recommendation that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommends City Council approve and authorize the mayor to execute agreement number A-8197 with Sean Steinberg, doing business as Summit Air Conditioning, in the amount not to exceed $200,000 for a 3-year period for on-call heating, ventilation, and air conditioning maintenance and repair services. Now, a little bit about this. This was advertised back in October 16th, 2019, and it called for on-call HVAC maintenance and repair services for specifically for the Wastewater Division and the AWPF. It was posted to Public Purchase, Dodge Analytics, Tri-County Reprographics, Bid America eBid Board, Vida Newspaper, and the city's website. The bids were due November 5th, 2019, and at that point, one responsive bid was received. And a little bit on the background of these units. The Wastewater Division owns and operates 40 units, 15 being out in the city at 15 lift stations, and 25 throughout the wastewater treatment plant. The AWPF owns and operates 8 units. And these units range anywhere from 3 tons to 20 tons. Here you can see a typical medium-sized unit located at the wastewater treatment plant. The top left are just standard medium-sized, that cool equipment, temperature-sensitive equipment, and office space. The lower right are medium-sized as well that are used to cool temperature-sensitive equipment in pump rooms. Here's a very important unit located out at one of our various lift stations. The unit itself is this tiny, well, not tiny, but this small unit located at the side of the panel, and it is used to maintain to regulate temperature within the lift station SCADA panel. Here's a temperature-sensitive equipment located at both the AWPF and the wastewater treatment plant. It is a circuit board that is subject to high temperatures and can malfunction if not regulated properly, temperature-wise. Here's the financial impact between the wastewater and water division that operates the AWPF. Please note that the wastewater division, since we do have more units, we do ask for a slightly higher allocation of funds, and this will take us all the way through 2022. This concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to take any questions.
I have no speaker card showing. Members of the committee have a comment?
Nope.
A couple of comments.
Sure.
Was the fact that we only received one bid, did that cause a problem with our staff?
So we did reach out we posted this on 8 various boards and sites, and we reached out to vendors who previously
You did an excellent job in the presentation of identifying all the sites that you went out to, but did the city manager feel that maybe at 200 grand we needed to put it a second time? No?
Councilman Perillo, I personally do not, is because this is not the first time that we have asked for such a small as needed services contract. The last time that we did it in the county, there were 2 what we call mom and pop company competed. This time, the company, one company decided not to, because for them, it's not a lot of money, but they have to be on call. Once we call them, they can't say, I'm busy, I don't have time.
Okay, okay, thank you very much for that. And the second thing, sometimes it is a little bizarre that we're going to put air conditioning units in a sewer plant. I mean, people would go, wait a minute, what are we doing? But can you give us a ballpark figure of how much the value is of the machinery that's being protected by these items that we're going to be putting putting a service contract on?
Well, some of these items were recent improvements. For example, we recently procured a large HVAC unit for our laboratory at the wastewater treatment plant, and ballpark figures. Jeff or Jan?
And that's okay, but even if we can't, but for the general public, it's a lot of money.
It is. It's a very, very expensive equipment that we have to maintain, and through this contract, we will, have routine maintenance and service so that we can preserve these assets.
And I see Mr. Hauser coming up.
So just real quickly, we don't have an exact number for you, but it's in the tens of millions at least.
Okay, thank you.
Switchgear, electrical switchgear, a lot of very big equipment.
Okay, thank you very much. And the last is for the general public. If we have a failure at the sewer plant, it can get into the millions of dollars real quick if it goes into the ocean.
Oh,
and
fines alone, yes.
Yeah, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for the presentation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next, next item. Item D6, award professional services agreement A-8202 with Pavement Engineering Incorporated for the city's pavement management systems update. And staff could read the recommendation when it comes. Thank you.
In case you guys aren't tired of me, again, Tatiana Arnaud, City Engineer with Public Works, and I'm here to present the award of professional services agreement A-8202 with Pavement Engineering Incorporated for the city's pavement management system update. The recommendation is that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend the City Council approve and authorize the mayor to execute professional service agreement A-8202 with Pavement Engineering Incorporated for a 3-year term in an amount not to exceed $353,275 for the pavement management systems update. So we currently have approximately 1,032 lane miles of streets and alleys representing about 97 million square feet of pavement with a replacement value of about $845 million as calculated by the pavement management system. Here's a chart showing the breakdown of the lane miles and pavement area throughout the city. Please note that where it says other, that actually is referring to the alleyways throughout the city. This is a pie chart kind of showing the same breakdown, but in a more visual form. So this contract will include the visual pavement inspection of all the streets and alleyways and assignment of a pavement condition index for each of the street and alleyways for entry into the city's Street Saver software database program. This is basically where it's kind of like our holy grail of all information related to the pavement condition in the city. So the PCI is a numerical index between 0, which means no pavement remaining or essentially dirt, and 100, which is the best or newly built roadway. So this is, you're only at 100 essentially the second that the asphalt is actually laid out. By the time any car goes over it, you are now down to 99, call it. Street inspections will be performed on a 3-year rotation with a third of the residential streets inspected each year, and 100% of all arterials are receiving annual inspections. So the Street Saver program does predict future PCI by calculating the long-term deterioration of each street. Utilizing the pavement inspection data, a 30-year maintenance and capital improvement plan will be updated for the city streets and alleyways. The consultant is actually going to be making a presentation to city councils on the streets master plan and discuss the pavement principles and practices for Oxnard. This will happen after they do the next evaluation. A request for proposals was issued on August 1st of last year for professional consulting and engineering services for the PMS update, with 3 consulting firms submitting proposals on August 28th. The 3 proposals were reviewed by myself and a civil engineer, and Pavement Engineering Incorporated was determined to be the most qualified firm to perform the scope of work. For fiscal year 1920, so this year, the amount of $50,000 will be funded from project 19IN01. And for the subsequent fiscal year budgets, the remaining $303,275 will be requested. That concludes this presentation. I can take any questions.
I have no speaker cards, and if council have any questions?
Just a comment, and I don't expect an answer right now. It's just more rhetorical than anything else. But my understanding is that when we do these street repavings, that we're now reaching out to utility companies, because nothing is more irritating than doing a whole street curb to curb, and then within a month a utility comes in, cuts open a hole, does stuff, and patches it, and the patches never work. And so I think if we're not doing it, we should be telling the utility companies, here's when we're going to open the street up. If you need to do work, now's the time to do it. Or if you cut a hole in it, you have to repave the whole portion of the street, not just patch it. And that's just me as an individual, but it seems like if you go down C Street, you can see all the patchwork they've done after we did the street. And I think it was one of the phone companies came in and just dug up everything, and they did an okay job on patching, but it wasn't as good as a repaving.
Yeah, that's a great comment. That's actually something that we try to avoid as much as humanly possible. So whenever we start the design process for the street resurfacing projects, we do reach out to the utilities at that time, so at inception. And then we actually do reach out throughout the process. So when we have 60% plans done, we do send it to the utilities so that they have a chance to look at what kind of work we're going to be doing. And then before we go out to bid, we send out another utility notice. And then at the time before the pre-construction meeting is done, there's yet another notice that's sent to them. And then we also are now conducting quarterly utility coordination meetings where we do invite all of the local utilities to attend so that we can talk about the projects that we anticipate are going to be happening in the next year. For instance, I know that the gas company and Southern California Edison do appreciate this because they do have a lot of things that are going on. I can't speak for C Street and I don't know what happened there, but that's something that we are working towards so that we are coordinating. And like you said, we do actually make them, if we just repave the street within the last 10 years, if they come in and do anything, they are required to go from gutter to gutter in terms of actually patching that whole section so that it doesn't look like a series of patches sporadically.
Thank you. And I know you do reach out to the utilities. Just one thing that comes to mind is when we did Ventura Boulevard between Santa Clara and Del Norte. Originally, we reached out to Edison, and they said, oh, yeah, we'll move the poles, and we ended up repaving the street with poles in the middle of it, and they didn't move them until 3 months later, so it can be a little frustrating sometimes.
It is, yeah.
Councilmember, if I can just add to Councilmember McDonald's point, we really need to evaluate whether we should have a one-dig ordinance or not. It really addresses what Councilmember McDonald is raising here. So I think we're going to bring that for your consideration, hopefully this calendar year. Thank you.
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. That's the end of the meeting. Now if we'll go for, if members of this committee have something they want on the future agenda.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to have us take a look at quiet zones for the train. And in the train world, they're regulated pretty rigorously by the Federal Railway Administration as to when they have to blow horns and not. And at one time, we were involved with the Port of Hueneme, who owns almost all the rails outside of the main line, about doing quiet zones. And I'm talking specifically or primarily in the areas of Channel Islands, in the area just west of Rose, Woolley and Novato, and other areas that are primarily residential, where these trains go through. And I can tell you from personal experience, my house is probably a mile away from the transportation center, but sleeping on the second floor, when that air horn goes off at about 4 in the morning, I'm pretty much wide awake. And so I can imagine the residential zones are the same way when trains come through periodically. Now, the interesting thing about quiet zones, and I started doing a little reading on this, is that it has to be requested by the local entity. It can't be requested by the rail owner. So we need to be in discussions with the Port of Hueneme, and I know at one time they had a committee, they still have a committee, but the last person to go down there was Justin Link, who was our traffic engineer from many years ago. So I'd like to see us get more involved in that, but I'd like to have a study come back to us, or a suggestion come back to us I think we can identify 3 or 4 zones, if not more, that would allow for improving of the crossing systems, and I think the Port of Hueneme will be a good partner. There's also a lot of federal funding available out there. They just released a cycle last week, but we're not ready to submit for that yet, but there is a lot of money available on the federal level. I think we can take advantage of this and you know, perhaps give some of our residents you know, a little quieter night by allowing trains to traverse these intersections without having to be on the air horn, so.
Very good comments. I've gotten a lot of calls, and I can tell you I live a little further north, and I can hear the trains down there early in the morning. I don't have any suggestions, but I would just like to take the opportunity to let the public know. The restaurant Yolanda's in Ventura, Oxnard, Camarillo, and Simi tomorrow, January 15th, from 11 o'clock to closing. They're supporting wheelchairs for veterans. If any of you are going to go out for dinner or something, consider that. They're making a tremendous donation to the veterans for wheelchairs. And with that, any further comments? City manager have a comment?
Just that I have experience working on quiet zones from Riverside, and it's a great project for us, and we look forward to digging into it. I do want to forewarn you, it's a very long process because it goes all the way to DC and through the train companies and all that. You know, you need like a full council member's term to see fruition.
Okay.
Thank you.
The longer we wait, the longer the project gets.
City attorney have any comments?
No comments.
Okay. City clerk? Nope. Okay. The meeting's adjourned. Thank you.